Hello, everybody, and welcome to match number 9 of the Glimmer Gauntlet. My name is Dan with Hobbies and Happiness. I am joined, as always, I guess not as always, because I've cast with some other people, but...
How dare you, sir?
Jim, I'm sorry.
How dare you, sir?
Will you forgive me?
I am a gentleman and a scholar.
I am joined by Jim. This is Jim. Jim, say hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
You know, I'm doing phenomenal.
That's a new word for you.
Yes.
That is a new word for you. I
Yes,
like
it
it.
is.
I like it. So today we are looking at match number 9 of the Glimmer Gauntlet between Liam of the Illuminteers running the color combination of Amethyst and Steel going up against Franz of Traverse Tavern running Amber Steel. We got some very sweet ink combinations today. Are you excited about this, Jim?
Honestly, man, I don't even know if I lose in terms of like my favorite color kind of just winning or losing, because I love both of these decks so much.
And you love Steel. I mean,
yes.
that's the thing. If you're a Steel player, you're winning regardless.
Yes.
As a Steel player myself, I'm excited to say the least.
You know, whenever we get a format where I can play 3 colors, it's going to be red, purple, and steel.
Yeah, if that were a thing, I'm sure there would be a lot of people who would jump on that bandwagon right away. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Glimmer Gauntlet, the Glimmer Gauntlet is not a tournament of death. I got confused, Jim. See, earlier I thought the Glimmer Gauntlet was a tournament of death, and the participants were literally fighting for the last man standing, and that's kind of what was going on. But I found out that is not the case. So
loser bracket.
So that is not what this is. The Glimmer Gauntlet is a series of games where each participant was designated a certain ink pairing and tasked with building the best deck that they could, with the stipulation of they could only use common, uncommon, and rare cards. No super rares, no legendaries.
Yes.
And these are the decks that these participants have chosen to build, and these are some fantastic decks.
Yes.
All right, now, that set aside, the Glimmer Gauntlet is also a charity event. Each participant has chosen a charity of their choice, and the winner will have all of the proceeds that have been donated over the course of the Glimmer Gauntlet donated to their charity of choice. So if you want to find out more information about the charities that have been selected by each of these participants, be sure to check the information down below in the description. Now, before we get going with this match, Jim, I want to discuss a little bit about these color combinations. So Steel Amethyst, you know, I've talked a lot, right? We have seen both of these players, Liam and Franz, participate already.
Yes.
And there were some fantastic matches between the two of these players. Okay. Now, between Amethyst Steel and Amber Steel, we've already discussed how in a format such as this, each of these colors really isn't losing a lot from the rarity standpoint, right? Yeah. So what's one thing that you are looking forward to seeing, or what's one thing that you think you're going to see between this color combination?
Wow. So, you know, in Lorcana, it's very important to establish a board presence.
Right.
And usually the person with the best board presence is the one who can win, because now, you know, you're getting all that lore. But when you have ways to manipulate the board state with a bunch of very good cards inside of Amethyst, you know, it seems like it could be very difficult to take down the board presence of the Amber Steel songs list, but they just have so much versatility and they're super resilient. You know, just by thinking about the 2 decks and their complete entirety, I feel like this is going to be a really good match.
Yeah, one thing that I've mentioned in a few other games already, and Jim, I know you've noticed this, right? But in a game like Lorcana, right, stats matter, and especially in a format where it's a limited format.
Yes,
stats matter even
100%.
more. And we talk a lot about the 1 lore, the 2 lore, the 3 lore characters. But when you specifically talk about your 2 lore characters, their stats, their strength and willpower matter so much.
Yeah.
So when you have a character that's a 1/3 going up against even like a 2/2 or a 2/4, the stats on those characters are going to matter so much
100%.
because what you can do, because then you are very limited in the things that you can do with your characters. So if I had to pick between these two colors, right? It's always hard to bet against Amethyst. It's so very hard to bet against Amethyst.
It comes out of nowhere so many times.
And how many times, Jim, have we seen a match where we're trying to figure out who's going to win? Like, can this Amethyst player pull it out, and then they drop goat?
Yeah.
And there it is.
Yep.
And that's happened so many times.
Yep.
So without any further ado, I think our players are ready to go here. And players have shuffled up. And I believe Liam is the one going first. We've got some interesting playmats here. I was told we have some interesting playmats. Now, forgive me, guys. I can't remember who the artists of these playmats were. We'll find that out before game number 2, guys. But play goes over to Liam. Liam plays, he doesn't play. He inks a Queen's Castle and passes. If I'm Franz right now, I'm feeling very good because because again, Amber Steel, you're looking to go fast.
Yes.
And if I'm going second, you're already at a disadvantage. And so as long as I'm able to get out to a quicker start, and we see the Pluto.
That's goofy.
It's guys, it's Pluto. I learned my lesson. It's Pluto. But Franz has to feel good here, right? Dropping a Pluto on turn 1 after Liam has passed and did not have a turn 1 play.
Yeah. Aside from any spot removal, he doesn't really have to worry about a whole lot with the Pluto being safe or not.
Right. So we see Liam inking a goat, playing out a Jafar Royal Vizier. So Jafar Royal Vizier, a 3/2/1 for 2, an inkable card with the description of he gains evasive during your turn. So a very, again, we talk about stat lines. That's a very good stat line for the cost. And so interested to see what Franz is going to do here with that Goofy. We see him ink a Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist.
You said with the Goofy?
I did it again. Holy cow. I did it again. I don't understand what my problem is, guys.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
That was a great, that is a set of plays, Jim. Jim, let everybody know what just happened there.
Well, if you guys have heard me once complaining about Simba being a little too powerful, this is one of those turns that can just be really impactful for the Amber Steel player. But if you go ahead and look at the Amethyst Steel, that Jafar is able to take out the Simba, which is, in turn, a really big play.
Now, if I'm Franz here, what I'm thinking is knowing I'm going up against Amethyst, right? With that Simba on board, my opponent cannot challenge into the Simba and then play a Madam Mim.
Yes.
Because then he has to bounce it, right?
And he'll have no target.
And there's
for it.
nothing there. And so,
no. There it is. That'll take care of it.
We see a Jafar Dreadnought being shifted onto the Jafar Royal Vizier.
Yeah.
Does take out the Simba Protective Cub, and now Liam's able to draw that card off of Jafar Dreadnought's ability.
But the Simba did exactly what it needed to do in protecting the value, and right there, the Simba did its job.
It did. I mean, it did more than its job there.
Yes.
Like that's like if I'm again Franz, I'm feeling very good. Okay, so we see him inking a Strength of the Raging Fire, playing out another bodyguard, and this is exactly what Franz's deck is wanting to do. Get all of the value out of your 1-drop and 2-drops, which in this case is getting the most value out of his 1-drops, right? Cinderella, Ballroom Sensation, a phenomenal card with that Singer 3 ability, right? And man, that was a great set of plays there for Franz.
Oh, we got a Mr. Smee here.
Yep, we see Liam inking another goat. I believe that's a second goat, Merlin goat that we've seen Liam.
It's all right.
Ink.
All you need is one.
All you need is one at the end game to win you the game. That's literally the only time you need it. So play passes back over to Franz. Now Franz right now has access to 5 ink.
Wow,
all right.
Look at that.
Ink. Okay. So, all right. So what we're seeing here is Cinderella singing "Be Our Guest." Jim, can you sing "Be Our Guest" for our viewers, please?
No. Be our guest. Put our service to the test.
Very good.
All right. Cool.
Wow.
I got
Good.
there. Easy.
That was Jim. That was fantastic.
Easy game.
I give that an 8.5.
All right. Thank you. I take a bow.
All right, so I actually did not see what Franz was able to find with. Oh my goodness, we're singing
Oh
some
my
more
God,
songs.
look how powerful this is.
I'm assuming he's got to take out the Smee.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So interesting that that. So what do you think about that target there, Jim?
It's not terrible. I feel like you're kind of in a bad spot regardless of what you do, because eventually the Smee is going to take itself out unless he has another captain out on board.
Right.
So that's kind of what he's going for. He's going for that longer game of just the Smee is going to take care of itself.
Right. Right. Okay, and the other thing too is we saw Liam shift that Jafar Royal Vizier onto the Jafar Dreadnought onto the Royal Vizier earlier, and I think Franz is thinking about eliminating that line for Liam there, because if Liam does have that Dreadnought, Franz says, all right, I'm going to force you to pay the full price, the full retail price of 4 for that, as opposed to getting the discount and then being able to attack challenge into one of my characters and potentially draw a card.
Yeah.
So I think knowing all of that, I think that was the correct line for Franz to take there.
Now, it definitely looks like Liam is in a bad spot here, but I do believe he is going to go to 5 ink. And I don't know if you know this, Dan, there's a very important card at 5 ink that can be played to take out a couple cards.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if he has it, but it's a possibility.
I don't know if he has the Grab Your Swords, because we do know he's running for a full play set.
Yeah, full play set.
So Liam is running that full play set of Grab Your Swords, and if we see that, that would be devastating.
It's going to get rid of so much on his board.
All right, so we see him play Friends on the other side. All right, Jim, I did ask you, okay? I did ask you to sing Bjargis.
I don't know this one,
okay?
Dan.
That's okay. I will be the one to sing Friends on the other side, okay? Ready?
All right, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Friends on the other side. Wow. All right, it's late. Normally my voice is able to get into a lower register in the morning. So it's late when we're recording this, but that's all right. That's okay. Okay, so
wow,
Jim, what just happened? What just happened?
Double Captain Hooks came out. Smee is about to take out the Baloo. Yeah, he's going to gain 2 lore, but that's okay, because now the Mr. Smee is not going to be taking any damage. Got full value.
Yeah, because if anything, Liam's going to get a 2 for 1.
Yeah.
If anything, Liam will get a 2 for 1. I think Liam bets and says, "All right, Franz, I'm going to force you to challenge your Hercules into my Smee if you want to take him out."
Yeah, he's under no pressure right now. The 4 lore isn't just close enough to ending the game right now. Sure, Franz is able to have a lot of value with his creatures he has right now.
He gets the value, but we talk about stat lines.
Yeah,
Who wins the
important.
stat lines? Like, the stat lines are all on Liam's side of the board right now.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Franz does have 4 characters, but he has 2 0/2s, 1 1/2. I believe Cinderella's a 1/2.
I believe so.
And then you've got Hercules, who's a 3/3. So there's not a lot of lore on Franz's side of the board. Both players have 4 lore on board between the characters.
Yes.
So Liam's got to be feeling really good right now.
He's in a phenomenal spot right now.
And there we see, looks like we're going to see the trade between the Hercules and the Smee, because I don't think Franz really has an option right now. I think he's kind of forced into that play, but now he doesn't have any protection. So we see him play You Have Forgotten Me, which is going to force Liam to discard 2 cards. Oh,
those are some good hits.
Those are some good hits. Those are definitely some good hits. We saw Liam discard a Blue Fairy and a Queen's Castle, both cards that are very, very draw-heavy cards for Liam. So it looks like right now Liam is in top deck mode.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Talk about one of the greatest
oh my goodness.
top
So
decks.
Liam, my guy, Liam. How many times? This is at least the second or third time that we've seen him top deck a Friend after having to discard cards. Talk about luck of the draw.
I think that's a bug in the game. I think that's a bug.
Man, if you're Franz right there, man, what's going through Franz's mind right there?
Yeah. Is he also in top deck mode?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Both players in top deck
This
mode.
is kind of a stalemate right now, But
It's never a stalemate when an Amethyst player is involved.
Yeah, true.
Talking about card advantage and in top deck mode, give me the Amethyst player. Like, give me Amethyst. And so right now, Franz is at a heavy disadvantage because I'm drawing off the top of my deck, and we saw him there. He top deck another Pluto.
Yeah, that doesn't feel great right now. You're in
and
top
so now
deck
we've seen
mode.
top deck. Oh my goodness!
Ooh, draw another card.
Draw another card.
Thank you.
Draw another card. Liam is like, don't mind if I do. I mean, right now. It's Liam's game to lose.
Yeah,
and it's such a feels bad.
Yeah,
it's always a feels bad when you're in top deck mode, when both players are in top deck mode, and you're like, I don't have access to the cards that I need to have access to be able to draw more cards.
Yeah.
Now this is good.
That's a nice top deck.
This is a nice top deck. Okay, because now Pluto Determined Defender. I did it again. Pluto Determined Defender. I don't understand why I do that.
I just had to jinx you.
I know,
game,
man.
apparently.
You did. So we see the Determined Defender come down. Okay, so he challenged into Captain Hook there.
Yeah, it was a great play.
Yeah, because right now you have to hope that
Liam doesn't have enough damage on board,
or he doesn't draw into a Mim Fox.
Yeah, don't draw into a Mim Fox
because right now Liam has access to 3 strength between Captain Hook and Maleficent, which is not enough to take out.
So he would need the Fox.
He would need the Fox. We see him tap 5. Oh, that's devastating. That's devastating.
Wow.
That's devastating for Franz. We talked about before having access to the 4 grab your swords.
Yeah. Can you imagine if he didn't get that Pluto off the top thow? His whole board.
Yeah, his whole board's gone. Oh my word.
Wow.
And now so here's what we've just seen, okay? Liam paid full retail price, paid 5 ink for the grab your swords. You would think he's not able to do anything else. But no.
Turns out that was a lie.
Turns out that was a lie because Maleficent was able to sing a Friends on the Other Side for 0 ink. So Liam was able to play 8 ink worth of cards for 5.
Yep.
So just utterly decimated Franz's side of the board and was able to draw 2 cards. So Liam is net neutral in his cards in hand because -1 card for the grab your swords, minus a card for Friends, and then drew 2 going back to net neutral.
Yeah.
And now Franz is still in top deck mode.
Wow.
And so right now, again, this just shows the power of Amethyst as a color in the long game.
Yeah. Like the early game power that Amber Steel has is just phenomenal. But again, the resilience that Amethyst Steel provides is just truly outstanding.
To be honest, I think it's Amethyst in anything.
Yeah.
Like Amethyst and anything gives you that resilience in the long game.
Yeah.
And so that is and we're seeing it. We're seeing it play out on Liam's side of the board. All right, and so we see Liam exerting Maleficent. And there's the 4/4, and then along came Zeus. And then along came Zeus. Okay. All right. Okay, so it looks like did he send Maleficent into... It looks like he sent Maleficent into the Pluto, and then paid 4 for the Zeus to fully get rid of.
Yeah.
To fully get rid of the Pluto. All right, so now we're seeing questing with Simba Protective Cub. Looks like Franz is up to 9. I believe that's 9. I believe that is 9 lore to Liam's 4. But talking about card advantage, Liam having that full grip of cards in his hand to Liam's none.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, to Franz's none. So we're seeing
the Blue Fairy.
Blue Fairy come out for some access to some more draws.
Ooh,
There's another Jafar Dreadnought drawing a card off of the Blue Fairy. And we are... looks like Liam is trading his Captain Hook into this Simba. And Liam says, go, Franz, see what you can do, but I'm just going to keep drawing cards and gaining the lore. So Franz actually in an okay... I say an okay spot because he has 4 lore on board, but talking about stat lines, we have the Jafar Dreadnought, a 3/4, being able to now challenge into the Smee, take him out, draw a card, and then if he has access to another Floodborn, he'll play it and then draw another card. Oh no.
Wow.
So we see there's a blue fairy.
And another Dreadnought. Wow.
So Liam, I assume Liam is going to take out the Smee with the Dreadnought.
Yeah, he kind of has
He
to.
kind of needs to draw another card. So Liam just drew 3 cards. Oh my goodness. And now questing with the Blue Fairy. And one of the things that I love about Blue Fairy as a card, right? I play Blue Fairy in my Amethyst Steel deck. And one of the things I love about it is not only the draw power, but she's a 1/1/1 with evasive.
Yep.
And so you're able to just, most of the time, you're able to freely quest turn after turn after turn, and then just gain that lore indiscriminately.
It will
every
just
single
get
turn.
you there eventually.
Right. And a lot of times that's all you need is you just need to slowly, continually gain that lore turn after turn after turn.
Well, especially in a grindy deck.
Yeah.
And I mean, we, again, talk about how grindy this Amethyst Steel list is, or Amethyst anything, and you're going to get to those turns.
Right. And we see him inking another Maleficent, Sorceress, exerting 2 ink. Oh my goodness.
We've seen
Blue Fairy number 3.
All 4 blue fairies. One is in the discard.
And now we're drawing 3 cards
Draw 3
off
cards.
of the Captain hook. Oh man. So
This
Liam,
game is-
Liam is in a commanding position right now.
Yeah.
Even though he is down 11 lore to 5 lore, he is going to just now be able to freely quest with those fairies, and then with access to both of those Jafar Dreadnoughts, he's telling Franz, "Hey, you tap one of your cards, I'm swinging in and draw another card." And looks like we see Franz scooping it up.
Yeah.
And Liam is going to take game number 1. Man, Jim, we talk about the resilience of Amethyst as a color. Man, I mean, what did you see from Liam's side of the board there that kind of just speaks to that specifically? There was just so much there. It's almost like, well, what didn't we see?
Yeah. I mean, dropping the grab your swords was a huge play. You know, that really changed the game. But I do think when Liam had out the Mr. Smee, I keep wanting to say Dr. Smee.
He's probably he could be a doctor. Who knows?
The Mr. Smee, and then the following turn he sets up with the double Captain Hook. I think that was a very big turn of events.
Yes.
That was the part where it was like, okay, I now have established board presence. Now you have to take care of it.
Yeah, that was the moment in the game where Liam looked at Franz and said, "Look at me, I'm the captain now." After he dropped both of those captains, that is what he said. He said, "Franz, look me in the eyes. I'm the captain now."
Yeah.
I believe those words came out of Liam's mouth at that very moment in the game over Discord. That's pretty sure that is what happened. But I think it was a turn later, or maybe 2 turns later, where when we saw, it's not just the fact that we saw grab your swords come down. Okay, that was bad enough for Franz, but to be able for Liam to be able to sing that Friends on the other side, and then just draw 2 more cards after that, again, there's no other color that's able to do that. I mean, there's no other color combination that's able to do grab your swords into Friends on the other side of. Okay, yes, I know grab your swords is a steel card, and Amethyst is Friends on the other side is an Amethyst card, but it's more than that. It's being able to wipe a board and then for free being able to draw more cards. You can't do that in any other pairing.
It's the whole idea of being able to just board wipe, draw more cards.
Correct. And drawing more cards for free. It's Amethyst Steel. Again, I'm talking to you as an Amethyst Steel player, right? So I already know the power of it, and because I do it all the time, and it's a lot of fun. But it's very difficult playing against that when you know your opponent is able to grab your swords, and then along came Zeus, or even Rise of the Titans. Like, especially in the current metagame, I love Rise. I was just talking
100%.
about Rise of the Titans. In fact, I had a game recently where I knew my opponent was playing a lot of Queen's Castles. Okay, so my opponent, Queen's Castle, a phenomenal card, and we've seen it here from Liam's side of the board, right? But if I'm the steel player going up against Amethyst and I know they're playing Queen's Castle, I am holding on to Rise of the Titans.
100%.
I am not inking it. I am not doing anything with it. I am holding on to that so I can specifically take out your Queen's Castle. Rise of the Titans, a phenomenal card. And to be honest with you, I'm interested. Now, let me ask you this, Jim. Would you play that? Would you play that in this kind of format?
Ooh.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean in the metagame, yes, but I'm not sure in a limited format.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I can see it because I believe it is inkable, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I can definitely see it.
All right, players have shuffled up. We're done talking. We're going to game 2. Players shuffled up. We see a turn 1 Cinderella Ballroom Sensation from Franz and another Queen's Castle being inked by Liam on turn number 1. So again, looks like Franz is off to a really good start. Wow. Singing Be Our Guest from Cinderella on turn number 2 is very good for Franz. But again, one of the things that you have to talk about when it comes to Amber Steel is we talk about the early game. What are you doing in the mid to late game?
Yeah.
What are you doing in the mid to late game? And we know Franz has access to those Hercules Divine Heroes, which is a great card. And we see Franz find a Pluto Good Boy. I'm not sure. I can't remember the sub name of that Pluto. Looks like he's determining what he's going to ink. So we see him inking a Be Our Guest. That's interesting. And now, all right. So now we see access to Sleepy's Flute in a format such as this. Franz got to be feeling pretty good about that Sleepy's Flute. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, I mean the card. Both of these decks are able to super grind out games, and if you can't take care of that flute, a lot of the songs that are just getting you more value are now even going to just win you the game eventually. It's a phenomenal card to get out early, and as you can see, the Let the Storm Rage On gonna gain a lore off the Sleepy's flute.
Off the flute, yep.
On top of the draw card, deal 2 damage.
And Jim's favorite card is just coming down. Man, look at how many cards that we've just seen fling from Franz's hand in that turn. Man. So again, I think right now Franz is thinking, okay, I have to get out to a very, very quick start and then just build up my lore and then hope I can take control of this game and honestly just end it by turn 4, 5, 6. Because Franz does not want to give Liam any room to come back. Because again, we saw it in game number 1 with having access to so much draw power. All right, so we see Liam inking a Madam Mim Snake. So now Mr. Smee has the 2 damage marked on him from the Let the Storm Rage On. So again, looking at the board states, there's a lot of cards going on Franz's side of the board.
Yeah.
But Liam's like, that's fine, because I know what I have access to. That's what he's saying. And so he's got a lot of cards in hand, figuring out what he's going to do here. But Franz got to be sitting pretty good. He knows he's protected with the Simba. All right, so we see a smash come down, taking out that Pluto, and now we see the trade. Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting is
well, but here's the thing though. I think that Smee was gone regardless.
Yeah, I was more so wondering if get rid of the Cinderella.
The Cinderella.
But I guess if you are talking about between Pluto and the Cinderella, the Pluto can just get you more value because he's able to shift.
True.
You don't have access to your shift target with Cinderella.
You're able to do much more. You're able to do more with the Pluto than you're able to do with the Cinderella. Yep. Yes, Cinderella can sing. And now we see the bare necessities.
But so
come
can
down.
the Pluto.
True. So it looks like we see one song in Liam's hand with a Merlin Rabbit, 2 Captain Hooks, and a Jafar Royal Vizier. So not only is Liam able to draw cards off of his action cards, he is able to draw cards off of his characters when they leave an end of play, thanks to Merlin Rabbit. Jim, why don't you talk a little bit about that Merlin Madam Mim package, specifically the Merlin cards?
So the Merlin package, ever since it came out, I've been a huge fan of them.
Right.
And just being able to, on play and when it is removed from the field, you start getting effects, whether it's gain a lore or draw a card, and then you can start working them with the Madam Mim package to then bounce those cards back into your hand to then further get the value it is that you're looking for. And then when you play it again, you get the effect again.
Yeah, and it's man, it's always a feels bad going against those cards because Franz is almost in the position where he knows he has to take care of it.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, then Liam is able to get more value off of it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you don't want to take care of those cards because you don't want your opponent to get the value. Yeah. They're going to get the value anyway. You want to remove the possibility of them being able to abuse getting that value. Yeah. And that's the position that Franz is in right now. To be honest, anytime you see a Merlin card come down, whether that be Merlin Rabbit or Merlin Goat, you have to, they're almost must remove cards, even though they're kind of obnoxious from the standpoint of they don't do a whole lot. Yeah. Your opponent is just able to get so much value potentially off of them. You just don't want them to be able to do that. And you don't know if they can do that right then or if they're able to do that multiple turns down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very scary thing to have to deal with. And the other part of with the cards is it's just feels so bad when you have to utilize a removal spell to take out the Merlin Rabbit.
Yep.
Because now it's just a -1 at that point.
And we saw Grab Your Swords come down. Now that was a great sequence, to be honest, from Liam. He challenged into the Hercules with the Merlin to be able to put those 2 damage markers on the Hercules and then draw off of the Merlin Rabbit, and then paid 5 for Grab Your Swords, able to take out 2 cards in that exchange. Yes, Franz does have access to the Smee, but he was forced. I don't want to say he was forced. To be honest, I think he was forced into questing for 2 because he needed to get that value as much as he could off of the Smee.
Yeah. And with having the flute out, you want to be going as fast as possible.
Yeah, you really, really do. And so right now, Franz sitting, not comfortably, uncomfortably at 7, Lord Liam's none. And now we see a Captain Hook thinking happy thoughts come down on Liam's side of the board. Jim, how many times have you seen Captain Hook thinking happy thoughts come down?
Not a ridiculous amount of times, but he's definitely a cool card especially when you're playing that 1-drop Captain Hook.
The Forceful Duelist.
Yes.
So Captain Hook thinking a happy thought is an unequal 5 cost 2/5/1 Floodborn Villain Pirate Captain. He does have Shift 3 on him. But he has Challenger +3. So he's a 5 cost 2/5, but he's able to challenge for 5 damage. And he has the ability Stolen Dust. Characters with cost 3 or less can't challenge this character. Which, going up against a Amber Steel, you're going to see a lot of low-costed characters. The only downside to Captain Hook is he only quests for 1. But that's okay because, again, I think you're utilizing that card more as an offensive weapon than a defensive one. Because, again, when you challenge with the Hook, or you quest with him, your opponent, if they're running low to the ground characters, they can't challenge into him.
Yeah.
And so now we see Maleficent Sorceress and a Jafar Royal Vizier come down on Liam's side of the board. Liam just continuing to gain value turn after turn. And Franz, you see him he sings what he draws off the top, hoping he can do something with it to affect Liam's side of the board. We see the Storm Ray John come down, and then able to exert the flute to gain that lore. Does only have the 1 card in hand. Doesn't want to put that Nani in harm's way because of that Captain Hook. Man, Jim, what are you seeing on Liam's side of the board, or excuse me, on Franz's side of the board here? How do you think he's feeling right now?
Honestly, it's getting to that point in the game where you don't have this board presence. You did honestly extremely well in the early game, but it's starting to lose out again in that mid to late game. And it's just not going great. The Nani is really nice. The thing with the bodyguards is it does seem as if you need to have out the Musketeers tabard in order to then get that value from your bodyguards doing what it is they're looking to do, which is, get banished.
Right. Quest, force your opponent challenge into them, and then say, okay, now I'm going to draw a card.
Yep.
Because right now, Jafar, with that stat line, he's able to challenge into the Nani, survive, and then he'll only have... is Nani a 2-5 or a 2-6?
3-6.
She's a 3-6. Okay.
3-6-2.
Okay, so she would survive that Captain Hook, and now we see that Musketeer tabard come down, and so now Franz thinking, all right, do I challenge, or excuse me, do I quest with that Nani? He's going to quest with the Nani and say, force Liam to challenge into it, because again, right now, Franz sitting at that 10 lore to Liam's 2. But again, like we saw in game 1, Liam can just basically vomit his hand out if he's able to just draw.
Yeah.
And then Franz is in top deck mode. And what we mean by top deck mode is he's looking at that top card, and basically at this point, all Franz can do is just put that card out on board, and that's it.
Yep.
And because right now Liam is in the driver's seat, because he'll look at that top card, do something, draw another card, do something else, draw another card.
Yep.
He can just continually draw.
And it doesn't matter if the stats on the cards are small.
Right.
It's now you have a lot of extra cards.
Liam has access to more stats because he's able to just draw.
Yep.
And so then we saw that. So we see the Captain Hook challenge into, and this is where sequencing matters, right? Because we see Captain Hook challenge into the Nani first, take 3, and then the Jafar challenge into the Nani to banish the Nani, but then Liam is able to draw a card. Sure, Franz is able to draw, but Liam's like, I'll let you draw because I'm still drawing as well. And so when we talk about card advantage, normally if your opponent's drawing a card, you're down in card advantage because you're not drawing. But Liam was able to, okay, you drew, I drew too, so you're not up in card advantage. And so I don't think there's been any point in either of these games where Franz was up in any sort of card advantage. And again, that's the power of Amethyst as a color.
Yeah. Extremely powerful.
Absolutely. And so again, right now, just look at these board states. Look at the board state. 4 characters on Liam's side, but sure, he's at 3 lore, but that doesn't matter.
Yep.
Because look at Franz's side of the board. She's got 2 items that really aren't doing much. He has a Pluto. And look at the stat lines on that Pluto, and no 2.
If I know I'm going to beat you from turn 7 to turn 100, it doesn't matter what my lore is on this turn 7, because I will get there.
Yep. And again, and that's what happens. That's what happens with Amethyst. And so right now, all right, so we see the Smee come down on Franz's side of the board, 3-3-2. But now Liam's just like, all right, I'm gonna just do a whole bunch of stuff, draw a bunch of cards. So we see him exerting the Madam M Fox to. Speaking of drawing cards, we're gonna draw some more cards with the friends on the other side.
Not a problem.
Are we able to rebounce the Madam Mim to then replay her? Who knows?
Great sequencing of the...
What was that word, Jim?
Sequencing. Sequencing?
Sequencing? Can you spell that word for us, Jim?
You say tomato, I say potato.
But those are 2 different words.
Exactly, Dan. Exactly.
Oh man. So we see the Jafar Dreadnought singing, and then along came Zeus to take out Mr. Smee. And again, Liam still has access to all of his ink after singing 2 songs.
Yep.
Man, and that's just that is the power of songs, man. Just being able, so Liam was able to play 3 cards and only paying for 1 with ink. Yeah. I mean, Jim, how powerful is that?
Now, I'm no expert on card games, right? But I do think it would be very strong to play stuff for free, and being able to have these songs for free definitely seems strong.
That is correct. I'm no expert either, but paying 0 for something does seem like it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, when you gotta pay for your cards, and I don't pay for my cards. I have 7 cards in hand.
I think you would tend to be in a better position than your opponent, right? Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so now, again, just look at these board states. Look at these board states. 5 characters on Liam's side of the board as Liam works to just finagle his board state because he says, man, I want my stuff to look pretty on camera. And you know what? I do the exact same thing. I got to make sure all of my cards are lined up in pretty little lines and they're in the correct angles. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
So there we see Captain Hook.
Salt to the wound.
That is exactly what that is, man.
Yeah.
Captain Hook singing to grab your swords again. We talk about singing songs, paying 0. Oh my word.
Oh man, this is just super BM now. This is so bad manners. It's like, come on, man.
Why do you got to be like that, Liam? Just
what's that? The Simpsons meme. He's already banished.
He's already banished.
Stop. He's already banished.
I think that's a pretty accurate.
You like that one?
That's a pretty accurate description of what we're seeing right now. Because I mean, again, just look at Franz's board and look at him. I'm just gonna find this card. I mean, he isn't just a very, very rough spot. I mean, what are his outs here? I mean, he's at 11, but now Liam is sitting comfortably at the 9.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what the outs are if you're Franz, right?
Honestly, I know how you can make it to where your opponent doesn't get to 20 lore in the Amber Steel list. You just scoop.
You just scoop?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we saw the You Have Forgotten Me. Mm-hmm. So forcing Liam to discard 2 cards, but
Good
Liam
card.
is just like, okay, I will ready up all of my things. I will draw 1 card, and then I will just exert all of my things to quests for, what is that, 6? Looks like he's questing for 6 right now, going up to 15.
Yeah. He's got lethal on board.
And he has lethal on board. Not sure what Franz can do in this position.
Yeah.
Unless there's a card in Amber or Steel that just says, I win the game.
Unless
not
he has
really
a Be Prepared up his sleeve.
Yeah, which I'm not sure how you do that in the colors. And we see another goat.
Yeah.
And I think that looks like that's all she wrote. We're forcing the... And it looks like that's it. Looks like players are both figuring out this is pretty much it. Not sure. There's not much that Franz can do at this point, and Liam is our victor in this round 2 matchup. Congratulations to Liam from the Illuminteers running that Amethyst Steel deck. Well played to Franz from Traverse Tavern, but again, I think Franz was just in a really tough position in that matchup. What are some of the things that you saw from that matchup from Franz's side of the board specifically, Jim?
You know, it's so difficult. So for Franz, again, the early game was just looking very nice.
He was so dominant in the early game, and that's what you see no matter the format. That's what we tend to see from from Amber Steel, and that's exactly what we saw from Franz.
And a lot of the time, the early game is very important.
Yep.
It's just, it's like, what are you going to be doing in that mid to late game with the deck? And it's just very difficult, especially when you're limited on cards.
Right. The one thing that we did not see, and I know we saw this in round 1 from Franz, was those Hercules Divine Hero. We were talking before the match started. We saw that Franz only ran the 2 Hercules Divine Hero. I would be interested to ask him and say, all right, why are we not running the full play set there?
Yeah.
Because Hercules Divine Hero, a great card. But I think Franz and his deck look to value the early game and are trying to win by turn 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
And we did see that in round 1 from his deck. We know he's capable of doing that. But again, you just saw as these games go past those turns just how dominant Amethyst is as a color.
Yeah.
Forgetting
100%.
whatever it doesn't even matter what the other color is.
Yep.
It's just Amethyst as a color by itself is so dominant because you're able to just get card advantage after card advantage after card advantage for Amethyst.
Yeah.
So again, congratulations to Liam from the Illuminteers. I'm going to take this opportunity again for the viewers. Don't forget, check the link down in the description below for information on the charities. Again, these players each have decided to pick a charity for this event. If you want to learn more about what those charities are, don't forget, find that link down below in the description. You can find all about that. Again, these were some phenomenal games from Liam from the Illuminteers and Franz at Traverse Tavern. Thanks again for everyone for being here. This was a lot of fun. If you want to learn more about the participants, you can again check the links down in the description. That should take you to the participants' Twitter profile, as well as other information you can find out about the participants. So from this game, Liam is going to be heading into Championship Saturday. So the Championship Saturday is going to be live streamed. We're going to have 3 matches, 2 of the semifinals, and then the finals. Don't quote me on this, guys, but I believe they will be streamed on the same day. Yours truly, Jim, and I will both be casting one of those semi-final matches.
Yeah, I think I'm busy that day,
Jim,
actually.
you think you're busy that day?
I have a lot going on.
You got a lot going on. Well, one of those things you have got going on is the Glimmer Gauntlet.
I'll be there.
So do not forget about that. And again, if you're interested as far as what these players are running, deck lists are as well should be in the description. I know the deck lists have been shown on screen as well. You can follow the gauntlet down below. If you can check out the bracket if you want to follow along what's been going on in the Glimmer Gauntlet. Again, I'm Dan with Hobbies and Happiness, and I am joined as always by Jim from Hobbies and Happiness. You can find out all of our content down below in the description. So again, thank you everyone for watching this Glimmer Gauntlet match. Please follow the gang on Twitter at GlimmerGangPod for all of the updates and info on the event. With that, we were Dan and Jim from Hobbies and Happiness. Glimmer on.